Hi there, and welcome to the Lois Strachan YouTube channel. I'm Lois, and today I'm going to be answering another question that comes from a member of my community, and that question will be about my recent kidney transplant. Today's question comes from Anik, who asks about the fluid intake following my kidney transplant. Before, when I was on dialysis, I was only allowed to have around a liter of fluid per day. And Anik asks whether I still have that fluid restriction now that I've had a kidney transplant. So the great news is no, I no longer have a maximum amount of fluid that I'm allowed to have each day. For context, most people who are on dialysis have some form of fluid restriction because the dialysis needs to help the body to remove that fluid because it is very often retained by the body when the kidney doesn't function well. And in my case, I was allowed 1 liter of fluid, and that fluid had to include things like water, any fruit juice or any juice that I drank, tea, coffee, alcohol, I guess, um, soups, yogurt, ice cream, and the fluid that comes from fruit and vegetables and any other food that I was consuming. And there's quite a lot of that, in fact. If you think about when you eat an apple, how juicy that apple is. If you think about fruit like oranges or other citrus, how much fluid there is in that. So all of that had to be taken into account with that liter of fluid that I was allowed per day. And yes, I have the red flag that goes up in my head saying, but you're not supposed to be having oranges when you're on a renal diet. So just bearing that in mind as well. In fact, since my kidney transplant, I need to increase my fluid intake to between 2 and 2.5 liters per day to keep the new kidney hydrated, to ensure that it keeps functioning well. And for some people, that can be quite a struggle to get used to, particularly people who've been on dialysis for a long time. Now, I was on dialysis for just under 18 months, so it hasn't been too hard for me to adjust from that less than 1 liter to now 2 to 2.5 liters. I've actually been able to take that into my stride quite easily. But I know that for some people, it can be quite difficult to mentally adjust to drinking sufficient fluid during the day. If you've got any questions, drop them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. But before I go, just a friendly reminder that this is my journey, and what you or someone you know experiences may be different. Work with your medical team and they'll to figure out the best results for you. And then the second one, I am not a doctor, so this should not in any way be taken as medical advice. If you've got concerns about your health, please consult a qualified medical professional. Right, that is it from me. See you in the next one.